Alright guys, welcome back to another video here. We're doing a custom setup for the UMP modifieds at LIMALAND. So anyways, we're going to run some hot laps here, show you how to run the track, and then we'll get back to the setup here in just a minute. All right, guys, as you can see, this is it's on legend difficulty, and the goal time was 11. I don't remember what the goal time was. 11:296. We went 11:286. So a little bit better than the goal time of what it's set at, and I think it's pretty good. So anyways, here is my custom setup right here, and I have been told to go a little slower when I do these. I just figured that people could pause it and write down what they want to write down, but maybe people can't see it on the screen and they need somebody to talk. So anyways, I'm going to do this decently slow. If it bothers you, I apologize, but I've been asked to do it, so here we go. On my left front, I've got the camber set at 4.0. My spring rate on the left front is at 360. My shock bump is at 3.0. My shock rebound is at 3.0. And the tire pressure is set at 10 on the left front. On the left rear, my spring rate is at 260. My shock bump is at 3.0. My shock rebound is at 3.0, and my tire pressure is at 10 also on the left rear. Now, that's something I played with a lot during working on this setup. Of course, the rear end gear ratio was a big deal, trying to get it dialed into where it needed to go. And then the spring rates on the rear. And we'll get to the right rear in a minute, but the spring rate on the left rear, I think it started out at like 220, and I raised it all the way up to 260. It probably, to be honest with you, I could probably get a little more speed out of it if I raised that left rear spring rate. I just haven't done it yet. I was pretty happy to get below the goal time, and so anyways, that's where it's at 260. Now on the right rear is the same way. It's at 200. I can't remember what it was set at when I started, but I kept dropping it and kept dropping it and kept dropping it. I had it at 210 for a while, and before my last kind of set of hot laps there, I dropped it on down to 200. I feel like that's pretty good. If you go down much softer than that, the tail end starts getting a little washy with you in the corner, so 200 is about good with me. The shock bump's 3.0, shock rebound's 3.0. The tire pressure is 11, and tire stagger is at 0. I did have tire stagger at 2 inches, and I had to drop it all the way out of it too. On the right front, I have negative 4.5 degree camber angle. The spring rate on the right front is 290 pounds. The shock bump on the right front is at 3.0. The shock rebound is at 3.0. And then the tire pressure is at 950. Not much different here than anything I ever run on my setups. The left weight's maxed out. The cross weight's maxed out. The ride height is at 0 on the front. On the rear, I did mess with the J-bar some. I brought the chassis J-bar height. I brought it down to 16 at one point in time, and then took it back to 20. And then I brought the axle J-bar height. I brought it up to 13 at one point in time. I played around with that quite a bit, and just nothing seemed to be where I wanted it to be at. So that's where I ended up at, is the J-bar height on the chassis is at 20 inches. The axle J-bar height is at 10 inches. The ride height is at 0. and my rear weight is at 53. Something else too on this, I've had this rear weight all the way up to 65. Um, I messed with it at 65. I messed with it at 63. Messed with it at 58. Messed with it at 55. I even dropped it all the way down to 50 at one point in time, and then brought it back to 53. So I feel like that's a good point to be at. You might be able to fine tune, with the rear weight by going up a couple percent points, or under a couple percent points, whatever fits your driving style. But that's where it felt best to me. Rear end gear ratio 5.4. That's where I ended up at. And then my wheel lock, as always, is at 30 degrees, 0 on the steering offset, and my tire compound is soft. So there you go, guys. That is a setup for LIMALAND. I hope it's helped you. If it has, please consider smashing that subscribe button, guys, because it helps out tremendously. With that being said, I think my next track that I'll be posting for the modifieds as far as a custom setup is I'm pretty close at Kokomo, so that'll probably be my next one. Thanks for watching.